Mm.
First time having multiple jobs today, so please forgive
Mm.
me. Family and friends, I welcome you here this evening as we gather together to support Lauren and Nick as they enter into the bonds of marriage. I'm Lauren's dad, Joseph, and as an ordained minister through the American Marriage Ministries Church. Don't worry, I promise, it's legit. Really. It's my distinct honor and absolute pleasure to be officiating here tonight. Lauren and Nick are extremely honored that so many of you have traveled for so far across the country to share this special day with. We would also like to take a moment at this time to remember some very special family members who may no longer be with us physically, but whose spirit is certainly with us tonight. Specifically, Lauren's grandparents, Edna and John Cadillac, otherwise known as Bubba and Papa, and Patricia and Don Roswell, also known as Nana and Papa, as well as Nick's grandparents, Robert and Elsie Sylvester, and Carmen Barone. In addition, Nick's Nana, Vera Barone, is recovering from a recent surgery and unfortunately could not be in attendance today, but is certainly here with us in spirit with both of you tonight. In the years they've been together, Nick and Lauren's love, respect, and understanding for each other has grown and matured, and now they have decided to live their lives together as husband and wife. As we prepare for this day, I ask each of them to reflect on the relationship, how they met, how they fell in love, and most importantly, what they love about each other. I'd like to share some of those reflections of their story that brought us here today. Like many couples, their first encounter occurred while attending college. It was there at Penn State University that they initially met, albeit from a distance. At first, Lauren said that at one time she knew who Nick was in college. He was in Sigma Chi, which was her favorite fraternity. And it turns out that one of her best guy friends was actually in this fraternity. And she would always love to social with him. Though she doesn't recall ever speaking to Nick, She would see him around at parties, walking around campus with Anthony Paccio, smiling now. She said that she didn't really know Nick's name. To her, giggling, he was just a hot Italian guy at SIDCOM. She shared a brief close encounter that occurred during a day-long, which turns out to be a frat party, back in 2010. And she recalls getting in a group photo with Nick and secretly being so excited, thinking we're going to be tagged in this photo on Facebook. And unfortunately, nothing ever came of the photo. Nick shared that they crossed paths a number of times through their lives, but there was something that just kept bringing them back together to each other. At Penn State, he knew of her. She was friends with a few of the guys at Sigma Chi, and he would see her around every once in a while at parties and day longs. He thought she was very cute, but admittedly, he was always just too shy to approach her, confessing, to be honest, he thought she was a little out of his league. Life went on, and the years passed as they both graduated from Penn State as young adults. Starting out, Nick was living in New York City, working long hours at Citibank. Lauren was working as a dietitian and living in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. Nick recalls that for New Year's Eve 2013, a few of his friends he was living with at the time, Pete Edwards and grooms Time Bakima, suggested that they go to Capitano in Little Italy for an open bar party they were throwing. So we bought tickets and all went that night to ring in the new year. Unbeknownst to Nick, fate would bring them together this evening. The moment he arrived at Capitano, he spotted Lauren. She saw him as well, and she immediately asked if he was in Sigma Chi and went to Penn State. They got drinks together, began talking. The hours passed. They talked some more, partying and dancing the night away. Lauren recalls the massive New Year's Eve party in New York City as well, and seeing Nick in line for the bar, going up to him and coyly asking if he was the guy from Sig Chi, as if she didn't know. The night was a bit of a whirlwind, and Nick was quite charming, and he ended up being her New Year's Eve kiss. Yet, as the night went on, nature called, and Nick stepped away to use the restroom and told Lauren that he'd be right back. Unbeknownst to Nick, Lauren and her friends had rented a limousine into the city, and the clock was ticking, and they were running out of time. So while Nick was in the bathroom, one of her friends, Dan Van Blorkum, found her and told her that they have to leave now. They're going to charge us extra for the limo. Still, Lauren didn't want to leave. But if you know Dan can be very persuasive at times when he has to be. So with an executive decision, he picked Lauren up on his shoulder, carried her out of the venue, legs kicking, arms flailing. It was a Cinderella kind of Kodak moment. Nick came back from the bathroom and was unable to locate Lauren anywhere. And just like that, Lauren was gone. To make matters worse, he had never had a chance to even get her phone number. Not the way he was hoping the night would end, or the New Year's would start. As young adults, they were busy with life, and the years passed as both consumed work in two different states. They both shared that they didn't reconnect until 2017 on Bumble, which is a dating app, which the girl has to send the first message. So Lauren reached out to Nick saying, "Hey, I think you were my New Year's Eve gifts 4 years ago." To which Nick responded with a resounding, "I think you're right. We have a lot of catching up, seeing as I failed to get your number that night," which he immediately rectified, not wanting to make the same mistake. They went out on their first date shortly afterwards to Westville in Chelsea, New York, the same neighborhood where they would not long after move into their first apartment together. Lauren fondly remembers that night going to Westville, their now favorite restaurant in the city, for their first date. She remembered that he picked out the restaurant thinking she'd really like this because of a bunch of really healthy options. Nick shared that during that dinner, they caught up on the years that had passed since they first knew each other at Penn State. At New Year's Eve at Capitano, talked about family and so much more. By the end of the first date, he knew this was something special. Lauren was equally moved by this evening's events and really enjoyed their first official date. She lived in Hoboken at the time, so after dinner, Nick walked her to the path station, and it was obvious that the seeds of their relationship were germinating. So they shared a kiss under an umbrella in the rain. Although Lauren didn't know at the time, Nick considered them to be a couple immediately after that date. As he knew, there wasn't another girl in the world with her. So they started to date steady after that evening. Nick noticed that Lauren was kind, compassionate, caring, and funny, and he couldn't take his eyes off of her either. The next day, they went rock climbing, where Lauren thoroughly impressed him with her athletic ability, as well as her competitiveness, not Lauren. Yeah, they also played ping pong after climbing. And then they met a lot of Nick's friends after that night at the bar in West Village, and they all really hit it off. From that moment on, after the first date, Nick never had a doubt that they would be here today, getting married. Lauren joked that by 8 months into the relationship, she was ready to get engaged and secretly hoped it would happen. However, the joke was on her because Nick took a more measured approach. What really cemented Lauren's place in Nick's life was when she met his family, the Barones and Sylvesters. All at one Thanksgiving weekend, she met most of the Sylvesters and all 20 plus Barones in classic Barone fashion at Nana's massive dinner table. And when he saw how she could hold her own through all the shouts and the loudmouths at the dinner table, he knew she had passed the test. His family all loved her and she fit right in. Turns out that meeting Nick's family was a pivotal moment for Lauren as well, sealing the deal. It really confirmed to her what she was already thinking, that this was the man for her. She met Tina and Tony and Anthony on Memorial Day weekend in 2017. They rented bikes, toured Brooklyn, and she finally remembers having such a wonderful time. They had a blast, laughed a lot, and it just felt right. Nick met the majority of Lauren's extended family during the Cadillac Olympics that Lauren had set up with help from her sister, Kristen, and her brother, Matthew. It was at this family function that made him realize how awesome, fun, and competitive, not us, everyone was. It was truly a pleasure getting to know and spending time with the members. As time passed, when Nick first met us and her siblings, he couldn't help but notice the many stark similarities between his parents, their families, their upbringing, the values they shared, what they found most important in life, and ultimately what they wanted in their future to look like. Nick recognized that Lauren's parents laid a foundation of care, love, and compassion with their family that resonated with their own upbringing. Lauren and Nick found common ground early on the most important aspects of their lives: their relationship, their values, and families, something that connects them both. And as Nick highlights, we just clicked, and so did our families. By early 2019, Nick knew that he wanted to propose and planned to ask Peggy and me for her hand in marriage. The only thing Nick could remember when he asked for permission to marry Lauren is that he could barely get the words out because he was so nervous. Though Nick might think otherwise, I'm here today to attest that Nick did not stumble through his words, asking us for Lauren's hand in marriage, to which we happily embraced this idea, giving them their blessing for this union. Nick ultimately proposed at the Botanical Garden in Pittsburgh and did his best to try to surprise her, though she can always figure out when he's trying to do something for her. She takes after her mom. His family was there, and Nick was resourceful enough to be able to simultaneously get her parents, Matthew and Kristen, all on FaceTime to watch as well, to share that very special moment. Nick told Lauren these exact words when we proposed to her. Although it was chance that our paths crossed so often, it was fate that kept bringing us back to each other. You're the one that's always been. And finally, I asked couples what makes the other one the one that you can't live without. And they so beautifully answered that question, which I'd like to share what they wrote to each other. Lauren shared that Nick is the one she can't live without because he is her everything. He is her cheerleader, her shoulder to cry on, her best friend. He has the biggest heart and is the kindest man he's ever met. Nick has helped her become a better version of herself in every possible way. He has taught her a greater level of patience, kindness, and self-compassion. She believes she is a happier and all-around better person because of Nick. Lauren knows that the two of them can accomplish anything together and notes she couldn't live without his goofy ways, his excitement and enthusiasm for life. And she also adds, let's not forget about his great hair. Nick shared that he knew Lauren was the one that he couldn't live without very early in the relationship. However, for him, it was more than a moment. It was a journey of how they grew together, stronger, through the test of time, evidenced by how their lives and their relationships grew and thrived over the last 12 months. Through a postponed wedding, a quarantine pandemic, sharing 700 square feet of living space, and most recently, as new adult parents to do it. All of these obstacles, challenges, twists and turns, and detours, surviving mostly with laughter, made him realize how truly lucky he was to find such a strong, compassionate, and loving woman to share the rest of his life with, and knowing in his heart that they were destined to be together. And as they look to the future, they both hope that their family is full of love and that they continue to have fun together, travel together, and grow together. That they continue to challenge and support each other, especially as life inevitably gets more complicated as they grow their families and hopefully become wonderful parents, building memories with friends and families, enjoying life to the fullest together. These are a remarkable reflections from two people who have found their soulmate in each other, who have found the hand that they want to hold for the rest of their lives, who have found the person they love deeply and will love forever. So as we continue this evening, we have some words about love and hands and soulmates coming from some people who love these two very much. Our first reading will be by Lauren's Aunt Donna Mitchell, The Art of Marriage.
The art of love. A good marriage must be created. In the marriage, the little things are the big things. It is never being too old to hold hands. It is remembering to say, I love you at least once a day. It is never going to sleep angry. It is having a mutual sense of values and objectives. It is standing together and facing the world. It is forming a circle of love that gathers in the whole family. It is speaking words of appreciation and demonstrating gratitude in thoughtful ways. It is having the capacity to forgive and forget. It is giving each other an atmosphere of which each person can grow. It is a common search for the good and the beautiful. It is not only marrying the right person, it is being the right partner. Love you.
The next reading will be by Webster. Lisa Forrester, who cannot be here today. Blessings of the hands.
These are the hands of your best friend, young and strong and full of love for you, that are holding yours on your wedding day as you promise to love each other today, tomorrow, and forever. These are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that will passionately love you and cherish you through the years, and with the slightest touch will comfort you like no other. These are the hands that will hold you when fear or grief fills your mind. These are the hands that will countless times wipe the tears from your eyes, tears of sorrow and tears of joy. These are the hands that will tenderly hold your children. These are the hands that will help you to hold your family as one. These are the hands that will give you strength when you need it. And lastly, these are the hands that even when wrinkled and aged, will still be reaching for yours, still giving you the same unspoken tenderness with just a touch.
Lauren and Nick, it is your intention to be united in marriage, to live together as husband and wife. I ask you to please face each other, join hands, vows. Do you, Nick, welcome Lauren as your wife, offer her love, encouragement, trust, and respect as together create a future. Do you, Lauren, welcome Nick as your husband, offer people love, encouragement, and trust and respect as together you create the future. Okay, Lauren, please repeat after me. I, Lauren, take you, Nick, to be my husband, my partner in life, and my one true love. I will cherish our friendship and love you today, tomorrow, and forever. I will love you faithfully through the best and the worst, through the difficult and the easy. No matter what may come, I will always be there for you. As I have given you my hand to hold, so I give you my life to keep. Nick, please repeat after me. I, Nick, take you, Lauren, to be my wife, my partner in life, and my one true love. I will cherish our friendship and love you today, tomorrow, and forever. I will trust you and honor you. I will laugh with you and cry with you. I will trust you. I will love you faithfully through the best and the worst, through the difficult and the easy. No matter what may come, I will always be there for you. As I have given you my hand to hold, so I give you my life to keep. Anthony, would you please step forward with the ribbons? Your wedding ring is a symbol of your promise to one another. The ring is an unbroken, never-ending circle. It's a symbol of your commitment and unending love for each other. Nick, please place the ring on Lauren's finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I pledge my love and faithfulness to you today, tomorrow, and always. Lauren, please place the ring on Nick's finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I pledge my love and faithfulness to you today, tomorrow, and always. Excellent. Anthony, if you wouldn't mind, let's move this to the front. I think it's okay. Lauren and Nick have created a memory box, and in it, they will each place a letter written to one another, along with their wedding vows that they've just exchanged. On their 5th anniversary, they will open this box, read each other's letters, and renew their vows, reflecting on the past 5 years and dreaming of what the future holds for them in the years to come. I got the Band-Aid too. We're ready to go. Excellent. What a wonderful start of a beautiful tradition. Lauren and Nick, you have declared before all of us that it is your intention to live together in marriage. You've made promises to each other, which have been symbolized by the joining of hands, the taking of vows, and the exchanging of rings. So by the authority bestowed upon me by the American Marriage Ministries Church, it is my great pleasure to now pronounce you joined in marriage as husband and wife. You may now seal your marriage with a kiss. Congratulations to you both. It is now my incredible honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you for the very first time as a married couple, who's joined me in celebrating Mr. and Mrs. Nicholas Carmen and Lauren Nicole Orange.